You look tantalizing. You know, I make fun of The View a lot, but that's only because they keep talking. Because COVID also taught Sunny Hostin how to get her groceries delivered.
3 years, that's when I discovered Instacart. And I give them a big tip because they don't always pay their people well. And so that's been an issue, I think, for the company. But man, you can get toiletries, you can get fire logs.
Fire logs? She had to tell the audience that she tips big because even she knows she sounds insane.
The term woke has been, in my view, co-opted by the right and weaponized and bastardized. So I was surprised to hear you use the term because historically, as you know, because I think you're quite brilliant, that woke is a word used by the Black community to note that we must be aware of social injustices.
But words
and so
migrate.
why is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing, and originally that was absolutely a great thing. Don't tell me that the left hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm old enough to remember when it was the conservatives who hated.
Ever wondered what it's like to face sharp, well-aimed criticism on national television while keeping a polite, composed smile? Sunny Hostin might have an answer. Greg Gutfeld and Bill Maher joined forces for a verbal takedown, so swift and clever that even her fellow panelists couldn't hide their discomfort. Gutfeld's quick sarcasm hit like a caffeine rush, while Maher's no-nonsense logic carried the confidence of someone who avoids pretense. And Sunny, she was left blinking, seemingly disoriented, as if her thoughts had momentarily stalled, the cause of this lively exchange. A deeply engaging debate.
People have to wonder, where does Sunny Hostin get her opinions?
Yeah.
Like you said, it's obviously from her husband. She has to tell her what to say in The View because without it, she's got nothing up there. She's not very bright. But the problem with her is that
If I had any doubt that I was right about the change that's happened in the left, watching people protest for a terrorist organization like Hamas, that straightened me up pretty quick.
You can see the way Sunny Hostin, the way she's touching her above her eye, she can't even look at him because she's an activist, not a journalist or whatever it is that.
Imagine starting each day with the confidence of someone crafting a LinkedIn post about their achievements, mixed with the enthusiasm of a dedicated community organizer. That's Sunny Hostin's vibe. She embodies a unique blend of confidence and intellect, presenting her viewpoints as bold declarations that invite attention. Her contributions often feel like well-prepared statements, flavored with a strong sense of conviction and a touch of spontaneity.
View. It's become like a medical hospital that displays human misfailure. Here, let's look at this political oddity. It really is like the left-wing equivalent of a carnival sideshow, except instead of bearded ladies and fat clowns and two-headed cows. Well, let me rephrase that. But The View is a victim of the sunk cost fallacy.
Enter Greg Gutfeld and Bill Maher, two commentators who might differ on ideology but share a fascination with the way Sunny articulates her ideas. Gutfeld, known for his sharp wit and unpredictable style, and Maher, a seasoned commentator whose humor often reveals deeper truths, found common ground in analyzing her perspectives. Their shared focus on reason and debate led to a captivating exchange.
The truth, and when for years you've been telling lie after lie after lie, now you're carrying this big bag of rocks around you because it's too harmful for their ego to admit that we really were dishonest. And they could be honest. All they would have to say is, look, we hate Trump so much we were willing to lie about Joe Biden because we felt he was preferable. We thought our lying and our cover-up was on your behalf. Just say that. You're still scum, but at least you're...
Sunny's delivery of ideas is a signature style, a mix of thoughtful analysis and relatable anecdotes. Her statements often come across as deeply personal, yet relevant, presented with the enthusiasm of someone fully invested in their cause. Whether discussing economic issues or social dynamics, her approach is both engaging and thought-provoking, drawing from her unique insights and lived experiences.
I think that's bad. The View's co-host, Sunny Hostin, says, "Hold my beer," and is literally claiming Republican women can't think for themselves.
I think that women, white women in particular, want to protect this patriarchy here because it's to their benefit. They want to make sure that their husbands do well. They want to make sure that their sons do well. They want to make sure that their children do well. And they want to make sure that they do well. Most of the women in some of these studies are married white women, and they do fall in line with what their
For Greg Gutfeld, engaging with Sunny's arguments seemed almost effortless. His commentary carried a relaxed confidence, allowing her ideas to take center stage while he responded with measured humor. Sunny's viewpoints, often layered with personal experiences and current events, sparked discussions that showcased contrasting perspectives. Gutfeld's approach, paired with Sunny's passionate delivery, created a dynamic and memorable dialogue.
Hostin's obsession with race gets thrown back in her face. Today's video comes to us from Sunny Hostin. Sounds like a town. We're in Sunny Hostin. She was on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show dedicated to researching celebrity ancestry. For context, Sunny is a staunch supporter of reparations and has made a fortune spewing nonsense about white privilege and racial justice. Well, turns out she's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners from Europe. Here's how she took the news. Roll it.
Wow.
It's a challenging moment when even the person known for cynicism makes more sense than your best arguments. Maher didn't criticize Sunny Hostin, he methodically unpacked her points, layer by layer, like a meticulous craftsman dismantling an overcomplicated puzzle. He thrived in the discomfort of the debate, pointing out inconsistencies in her reasoning with sharp precision. At one point, Sunny suggested that nuanced conversations were a luxury, a perspective Maher quickly countered as lacking practicality. Her claim seemed so out of touch that it nearly overshadowed the conversation itself. Maher and Gutfeld appeared to share a mutual bewilderment at how someone with legal expertise could present ideas as contradictory as they were emphatic. Sunny seemed less interested in dialogue and more focused on making declarations, leaving the floor open for Gutfeld's quick-witted humor. He effortlessly turned her overconfident statements into moments of levity, using her words as the basis for his clever critiques.
Here's a treat for you. The insufferable Sunny Hostin getting a beatdown from Bill Maher on Gaza.
We're all concerned about the innocent civilians that have been collectively punished and murdered, largely
Well,
children and women.
of course.
And we're all concerned about the fact that the International Criminal Court just today issued a subpoena for Bibi Netanyahu.
Well, that's ridiculous, but it's a war.
Why?
Because it's a war, and they were attacked, and they're defending themselves. Now, this is a war. Do you think Hamas needs to be destroyed? This is the question.
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
So how
Okay,
can we
well,
get that with a ceasefire?
All right, so Hamas needs to be destroyed because they are a terrorist organization who say openly that they want to commit genocide on the Jewish people.
The irony, Sunny sees herself as the voice of reason. She firmly believes her opinions set the standard for intellectual dialogue, while Maher and Gutfeld, armed with sharp observations and humor, systematically challenge her contradictions. Maher's critiques carried an almost poetic edge, as he dissected her arguments with the precision of a seasoned debater. At one point, Sunny argued that understanding systemic issues requires personal experience, stance Maher countered by emphasizing the universal nature of truth and logic. Her reasoning often shifted unpredictably, leading to a chaotic back and forth that Gutfeld capitalized on with sarcasm. He didn't need exhaustive evidence. His humor and common sense sufficed. Sunny's appeals to moral authority were met with dry wit, exposing gaps in her arguments with ease.
Bill Maher did get to go on The View, and he said some things that offended the small minds over there. So he had a bit of a debate with the intellectual titan, Sunny Hostin. She was upset with him for using the word woke, and Bill Maher took her to...
The most telling moment, she didn't even realize she was being outmaneuvered. Watching her navigate the discussion felt like observing someone repeatedly miss the point while confidently doubling down. Her assertions, often delivered with unwavering conviction, faltered under scrutiny. Maher's closing remark was particularly poignant, questioning how open-mindedness could coexist with intolerance for differing views. Sunny's response, silence. The absence of a counter-argument highlighted the fragility of her stance. Though her credentials reflect intelligence and capability, her approach often leans more on identity than analysis. Every topic feels like a platform for activism rather than a search for solutions, leading Maher and Gutfeld to find common ground in their shared critique of her rhetorical skill.
I make fun of The View a lot, but that's only because they keep talking. Those hens are always clucking. They get to say stupid stuff for an hour every day, and then I get to say stupid stuff for an hour every day, except on purpose. But every now and then, one of those dingbats inadvertently says something that reveals modern liberal thought so perfectly, it deserves further study. You know, like a weird serpent that washed up on the beach and you want to...
Sunny's tone often amplifies the divide. Her delivery carries an air of certainty that can come across as dismissive. Every statement feels carefully crafted to project authority, making dissent seem almost heretical. Gutfeld doesn't engage her on every point. Instead, he observes, comments, and allows the contradictions in her arguments to unravel naturally. Sunny's strong rhetoric, combined with her unwavering self-assurance, often transforms debates into performances that prioritize emotion over logic.
All of them, actually, that montage we showed, their absurdity strengthens the Republicans at this point. Because Republicans are like, oh yeah, you've been saying that about us. I think ever since I got into politics in 1995, as I recall, Democrats have been saying this about Republican women. They just never change. It's not, talk about not fresh. They got nothing else, and so they don't want to defend their policies. What they try to do is to make the other team more toxic.
She advocates for empathy and understanding, but frequently struggles to extend them herself. Her arguments, though passionate, sometimes lack consistency, making them vulnerable to critique. Gutfeld's humor and Maher's analysis highlight these gaps, turning the discussion into a masterclass in critical engagements. ES speeches often resonate with a sense of conviction, but lack the adaptability required for meaningful dialogue. While she commands attention, it's the interplay between her and her critics that ultimately leaves the audience entertained and thoughtful, showcasing the art of debate in its most dynamic form.
Just to say to Sunny Hostin that you can call it whatever you want, but we're talking about the radical left. It is amazing how they then just attempt to redirect the conversation.
The irony, Sunny Hostin left the debate certain she had emerged victorious, convinced she had championed truth and justice while echoing the trending buzzwords of the day. Meanwhile, Gutfeld walked off with a knowing smirk, and Maher likely celebrated the moment with a triumphant laugh. In the realm of daytime TV missteps, this exchange claims a prime spot between Dr. Oz enters politics and Kanye offers relationship advice, a spectacular, fairy mix of ego, mismatched perspectives, and fleeting applause. Sunny inadvertently reinforced her reputation as one of The View's most unwittingly entertaining panelists, not for intentional humor, but for delivering impractical arguments with the unwavering confidence of a philosopher unveiling groundbreaking truths. For her, every discussion becomes a theatrical performance of conviction and grievance. Her opinions feel like declarations, and her stern demeanor turns casual exchanges into courtroom dramas. Sunny has a knack for turning even the most straightforward subjects into impassioned crusades, battling perceived injustices that often exist only in her narrative.
Virtue signals on the toilet. But that's not the point here. While everybody else was trying to figure out how to survive as the government told us that breathing in public could kill us, Sunny was lolling around in her big house clicking on pictures of arugula while mixing Cocoa Puffs into...
While Maher calmly dismantled her arguments with a few well-placed remarks, Sunny persisted, mistaking stubbornness for resilience. Gutfeld didn't attempt to outwit her. He simply mirrored her contradictions, allowing them to unravel on their own. Their exchange felt less like a debate and more like a lively commentary, where her monologue collided with a steady stream of humor. This wasn't a clash of ideologies, but a comedic dance of mismatched styles. Imagine an intellectual seesaw, Sunny's side weighed down with buzzwords and exaggerated indignation, while the other side floated with effortless irony. Oblivious to the imbalance, Sunny seemed confident she was winning, unaware that the conversation had shifted beyond her control long before it ended.